Greetings, everyone. This is Del with Healing Frequencies Music. And this overview is showing you how you, as a musician, can create your own music using the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters. I'm going to go over some of the stuff that is already out there, but I'm just going to truncate it, put it into a smaller little package, and then give you some hints of what you can do. And some of this is based on questions I get from people. All right, so we are now going to share screen. My favorite thing to do. And we're going to start the slideshow from the beginning. And you know we have to have the curtain drawn back, right? That's how it works in my world. We're going to move this up to the top. Okay, here goes. So the topics we're going to go through are going to give you an introduction of what this is all about. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the Hebrew Gematria, which is the numbering system for the Hebrew letters. Then the musical harmonic series, because the two are connected. And then we're going to compare Gematria with the Hertz, which those are musical frequencies, by the way. And then showing you how to create your own music. And I just think it's really interesting that they put this banner at the bottom, which is part of my computer. So you know I created this on, what is it, August 3rd, even though you're not going to see this until October. Anyway, there on the right is a list of all the Hebrew letters, not including their final forms. So Aleph through Tav, and the Gematria, or the numbering system that goes with them. So if something has a number associated with it, it could be a musical frequency. And if you listened to the last series I did about concert pitch and temperament, and I gave some information about the ancient solfegial frequencies, because some people try to turn them into a frequency, there's no patterns. They don't line up with what we know about natural laws. So that's kind of why I set those aside. But with this, I began to look for patterns. Everything is going to be determined by the patterns and if they exist. If you can't find a pattern, you want to move along. If you find a pattern, then it just makes you dig deeper. That means you know you're on the right track, which is, it took me 8 years to figure this out. The Hebrew letters have a pattern that lines up with the musical harmonic series. Now, the first 9 are really easy to see, which you'll see, but we'll get into that a little bit more. Here is the all 9 of them. Oh yeah, it is going from right to left. It's showing Aleph at the top up here because it's in reverse order. So you've got Aleph all the way here, and then this one starts with Yod, and then this one starts with the letter Kaf. And these last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's the Tav, which is 400. These are the final forms of some of the letters. So you've got 1 through 9, 20 through 90, and 100 through 900. That is the standard Gematria, giving the final forms their own number. The musical harmonic series. It's a natural law that's based on ratios. It has been around for thousands of years. I mean, they found bone flutes that were tuned according to the harmonic series that are 30, 40,000 years old. So obviously, when there's a natural law present, you don't have to intellectually know that it exists. You just harmonize with it. All music is based in some form on the harmonic series, is based in some form of the on. There's a typo in here. I missed it, but you know what I mean. Every note has its own harmonics above the fundamental note. The fundamental is the main note that you hear. I mean, if I sing this note, that's the fundamental, but there's all these harmonics above it. So, you know, there's all these other notes that are mixed in with that note. And every note has a color of strengths and weaknesses in the harmonics based on what harmonics are most present. That's how you tell the difference between a male and a female voice. There are certain harmonics that are more present in each of the voices. And you can tell which person is speaking because their voice sounds different. The harmonics that are present in that voice are different. Everyone has their own unique voice print, as we say. And so, and I just said we hear the fundamental, which is the bass frequency. That's the loudest one. We call that the first partial. The notes above the fundamental add color, depth, and beauty to the note. All right. Now, this is a picture on a piano of the musical harmonic series starting from the lowest C on the piano. And it's, as you'll see, it's all about the intervals. Even if you don't read music, you can see from the bottom of it, the notes are further apart, but as you get closer to the top, they get closer and closer and closer together. So the first interval in the harmonic series, you go from an octave to a perfect octave. Then you go from that note, which is a C, to the next note higher, which is a G, perfect fifth. Then you go from a G to a C, which is a perfect fourth. Then you go from a C to an E, which is a minor third. Then that's supposed to be a major third, minor third. I'm sorry, the major third is right here, C to E. I put it in the wrong place. And then minor third, E to G, and then another minor third, then a major second, major second. So as you see all the way up to the top, you're going to get, the notes are going to be closer and closer together. The intervals decrease in size and strength the higher the partial. So each one of these notes represents a partial. Here's partial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By the time you get to the sixth harmonic, you've got all the notes of a major chord in there, which I find rather fascinating. It's probably why major chords seem to be so prominent. And partials are notes that are above the fundamental. Here is the musical harmonic series in F sharp. So you can take any note, and of course, I like F sharp because it's in the frequencies of creation. You have to go check out that series. And the composer is the universe. But it follows the same pattern, but the fundamental is, is always is the first partial. And in this case, it's an F sharp. So I'm just giving you another one so you can see the difference. Okay, the harmonic series in the Hebrew letters. If you take the gematria, here's 1 through 9. These are the first 9. And you make 1 hertz, and you make this 2 hertz, and 3 hertz, and 4 hertz. Now, when we get to the fifth one, it's 5.06 hertz. Then the sixth one is 6 hertz, and then 7.21. So it's slightly higher, but, people think, oh, it's not exact, but you're dealing with concert pitch and temperament and all of those things, and there's a variety of things going on. They're really, really, really close. So I found it rather fascinating. If you go back and look, this is the harmonic series for that C note. C, C, G, C. And then if you go from, I think that is, because the next one is going to be your major third, E to G. Then you're going to go your minor third, G to B flat. So you're following the harmonic series all the way up. So really, this is a chart of the gematria translated to hertz. And you're going to notice as you get up here, the numbers seem like they're quite a bit different. But remember, it's all based on ratios. So the ratio is the same down here as it is up there. They're very, very close. Hertz numbers fit closely with the A432 concert pitch. Go figure. And this is in just intonation. It's not an equal temperament, just / Pythagorean. It's somewhere in the mix because I put together a chart, which I'll show you here. There is a correlation between the harmonic series and the frequencies of the Hebrew letters. I found the first pattern right here. It took me a while to see the rest of it, but you'll get some information on that. Here is the 432 chart that I used to find those pitches. And you are more than welcome to screenshot this page if you want to have this chart. Now I have 2 cats looking at me, wondering why I'm talking, and they're not on my lap. Okay, so now we're going to take the first 9 letters. Now, if you take here are those partial 1, partial 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the first 9 partials of the C fundamental. And you notice that Aleph, Beit, and Het all are the note, or the fundamental is C. Now, each one of these, you can create their own harmonic series off of that as well. So each note, so if you're doing something off the letter Dalet, for example, these are the notes those are the most prominent notes that you're going to see. Let's say you're going to do one based on the note, on G. These are all the notes that you're going to hear first in the key of G. So again, this is the harmonic series based on the first 9 letters, and several letters have the same fundamental, which I pointed out. But here's the thing, there are only 12 notes in the musical scale, and there's 27 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. So there's going to be some repetitions. Okay, now we're going to be, I need to move this so I can't read what I've got up there. I'm going to go down here and cover the start button because it's ugly. All right, so the patterns between the Hebrew letters in the harmonic series. The Hebrew letters follow a pattern, the gematria 1 through 9, 10 through 90, 100 through 900. And there are many forms of gematria, but the standard version, adding the final forms of 5 of the letters, giving them their own number, is the one that works. And there are 3 different harmonic series within the gematria. If you're a musician, with what I've given you in here, you can figure it out. But even if you don't want to figure it out, I'm going to give you an opportunity where you can find it. The musical harmonic series follows a pattern. Every musical note follows the same pattern, just like the Hebrew letters, they follow a pattern. The intervals of each partial decrease as the notes go higher, as the pitches go higher. As you will notice in the gematria, the numbers get higher as you go further towards the end of the alphabet. The Hebrew letters frequencies fit perfectly within the musical harmonic series. I found the pattern. So people ask me, what are the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters? Well, let's go further. So each letter's frequency can either be a musical key or you can use it as a musical note. Then you choose the notes in that key that work for your music. And people think that they're absolutes. It's not an absolute. There's nothing about music that's an absolute. So much of it is a creative venture. If you know a starting point, you go from there to create your own stuff. So remember, there are many ways to do this. You'll need the full chart to see the frequencies and the key signatures for all the letters. And then decide the intent for your music and let that direct your choices. And there is no set way to create. So, for example, you're going to choose your Hebrew letter or word. People will order personal songs and they will say, can you, and I always ask them if they're going to do that, look up their name in Hebrew, what their name would be in Hebrew, and then send me the letters that they think are in that name. And then I will create a song for them using that word. Some people will ask for, can you create a song with the word shalom? Sometimes I will use every letter as a specific thing, and sometimes I will mix and match keys depending on what works. Okay. Then you're going to look up, once you've figured out the word or the letter, then you're going to look up the frequencies associated with that letter. Begin the creative process based on what sounds good to you. This is so important. There is no set way to do this. Music doesn't work that way unless you were writing 12-tone rows and were Schoenberg or his buddies that like to write that serialistic music that we had fun analyzing in theory class. So the teaching moment for this is, if you're interested in purchasing the charts with all the Hebrew letter frequencies, there's going to be a link in the description. So $10 will buy you the PDF only with all of my charts. That includes the 432 chart, the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters chart, showing you what each one is, and then giving you the research process to show why this is accurate. And if you want to hear the 2 musical examples of me actually creating music, then that's $25. But a lot of people they just want the first part. All right. So with that, subscribe to the channel. YouTube algorithms really like that. Then you can follow me on Facebook. That's what FB stands for. Instagram or X, and all those links are below. And then the link to the website where you can buy albums, other teachings. And I have lots of nerdy articles about music on the website, as well as a few others as well. Because I'm looking at this all from a musical perspective and getting into the geeky music theory part. All right, so that's it there. So we're going to stop sharing. And that was very quick. The whole point is to make it super sweet and to the point and easy for you to create your own music if you want to use the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters as your base or starting point. Yes, they're in the 432 concert pitch, but I'm finding that intervals make a huge difference as well. So if you pay attention to the intervals, like for example, the Tetragrammaton, which is the name of God, is based on the notes E and G. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. That is a minor third. So I will put that in all kinds of music. And if you listen to my music, you're going to hear dun 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 dun. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. And then Adonai is Adonai. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, Adonai. And so you can put all of these different words in if you want to use it strictly for each letter per note. But now I could go back and create a song from that using the fundamental of an E or a fundamental of a G, and then mixing and matching what that might sound like. So that's an example of what I've done. And the other thing is you pay attention to what the intervals are, and then you can create from that perspective as well. Because the intervals, just like the actual note names and the keys, there's many, many, many layers to this. So choose the layer that's speaking to you at the time to create your own music with the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comment section below, and we'll see you on the next video. Woot, 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 woot. Have a bodacious day, by the way.